Continuing our education theme is John's bringing another really great love of my life video games up here. So, John Whetzel, and with what you can't teach in a classroom.
So this scene should be pretty familiar to your folks. So one of the great things that NASA was able to do is bring together a whole room full of smart people from diverse backgrounds to solve a really hard problem of being able to put this lander on Mars. And so that's the idea of a multidisciplinary team. And this idea is not a new one, but it's becoming more prevalent within the 21st century with regards to innovation. Unfortunately, right now, it's really difficult to figure out or to teach how to work in a multidisciplinary team. So you should probably remember your college days, your school days, where you kind of focus on one particular topic, so you didn't really get to learn a whole lot about everything. But then, how do you actually learn about that one particular topic and then be able to explain that to other folks? So this is just a little bit of my history. So I'm a computer scientist. So I read all my books. I did late night programming, and then I finally got my degree. And from that, I got a job at Sandia National Labs. And so where I got a job at Sandia was a new group that was focused on human cognition. So this is the idea of bringing together psychologists, neurologists, linguistics, and computer scientists to figure out how can we better understand human cognition and develop better systems around that. And it sounds really cool, and we did cool stuff, but it's also incredibly frustrating because there's a lot of miscommunication that happens between people. And so there's a lot of project overestimation, end up being incredibly frustrating. And this phenomenon doesn't exist solely in science and engineering, but also exists in other industries that are cropping up around the state. Specifically, I'm talking about new media. So the film industry, video games, a lot of these websites that you see now require lots of folks from different backgrounds to come together and build really interesting products. And so what I'm here to say is that so how do we teach it in such a way that you're able to have diverse backgrounds work together in a classroom? I'm here to say you can't do it in the traditional classroom way. You cannot teach a lecture about this. What it requires is experience. And so there's a program right now at UNM called the Interdisciplinary Film and Digital Media program. So this is a combination of various colleges, business, engineering, and the arts. And what it's here to do is to build a foundation for students. So all students do have a traditional major, but then they end up doing courses that end up blending some of the concepts that they learn. And at the very end, they have to do a capstone project. So they have to come together to build their own project that they have a year to accomplish. And so how I got roped into this was there was a bunch of fresh-faced kids that wanted to do something different in the IFDM program. They wanted to do a video game. My work at Sandia, I do a lot of work with serious games, and so they came to me to ask if I could be a mentor for this. And so what they wanted to create was this game called Alloy. And so Alloy is a game where it's a multiplayer game where you get to collect pieces of robots in the play space and put them together, and that robot actually magically appears and does very different things based upon what pieces you put together. And so I learned to be, as a mentor, it's part survival guide. So you want to tell people, when are you going to do something that's going to kill you? But they have to learn this stuff on their own. So you have to be kind of that caring parent to kind of nurture them and guide them through this. And so we kind of sat down and put together what the org chart plan would be for this. All the points in green were jobs that needed to be filled. So with those students, they had to go out and they had to find folks to work together. So they had to impart their wisdom on other students out in the community to have them put together. And so they essentially created a small business. And so they were working late nights throughout the week trying to put this thing together. And so they ran into struggles as well, like being able to figure out how to mesh together the art and the technical side. And so really the biggest problems of their job was people flaking out, miscommunications, and teams overestimating. Once they started mimicking my job, I knew I was doing something right. And so, from all that challenges, they were able to release the game. You can download it now at alloyvideogame.com. Any download, they're also asking for donations for the downloads, and it'll benefit the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. It's an incredibly fun game to play. Oh noes. So what I was going to put there. Sandia also recognized these students as well, and actually, one of the stories that the Sandia Lab News published actually was able to lead to a full-time offer for one of the students. So even Sandia is recognizing that being able to do this type of multidisciplinary work is extremely vital, even for areas of science and engineering. I think this is going to just be kind of the format for the rest of the slides. So what I want to kind of impart with you with is that, so this is a great idea to kind of put together these experiences, but this has to be married or coupled with traditional learning. So you need to build that experience before you can go out and experience it and try to impart that on others. And thank you.